Good morning. Thank you for having time to attend this side event. We hope that we are going to have a meaningful discussion, and we allow the panel to extend what they have for us so that we can chart a way for a better methodology of risk education. Let me quickly go to the activities of today, as we don't have much time to waste. This program is virtually about explosive risk education and the involvement of communities around our project, around the communities we're working, has been a very meaningful contribution to the overall objective of letting the people in the community understand the importance of protection and the importance of risk education in order to reduce or to mitigate the activities of the dangers of the explosive devices. On this note, the people I have here with me have over time developed a strategic way of reaching out to the communities, having the communities at the grassroots being involved in the activities of risk education, and recorded a very beautiful result in terms of resilience, in terms of getting to grassroots, the desired information that need to get to the grassroots, involving people in the communities, involving community leaders, have volunteers that goes from one area to another, and extend the information beyond the reach of the organization. To us, it's a valuable experience that need to be shared with many people so that collectively we can build a resilient process where people can get the desired information at the right time to enable them protect, reduce, or create awareness about these dangerous devices called explosive devices. With me here, I have two women that are doing very well and one gentleman. Let me start with the person right beside my, right of my left. Her name is Mariam Hassan Gambo. She is an humanitarian and climate change activist, gender and youth inclusion advocate, and empowerment initiative. She is the founder of an organization called CPWEI. CPWEI is a woman and youth-led national-based NGO based in the northeastern Nigeria, with over a decade of experience in education, protection, peace building. She led impactful intervention across child protection, prevention, child intervention, protection, community resilience, and mine action supporting explosive community as explosive ordnance risk education, victim assistance, and community-led solution in conflict-based or in conflict-affected areas. Mariam currently serves as the Nigeria's country representative for Youth Network for the Lake Chad region, as a Deputy Executive Director Program for Network of Yobe Civil Society Organization. She holds a master's degree in educational psychology and is pushing for her PhD in same field. Her work aligns with global priorities on localization, inclusion, durable solution in humanitarian and post-conflict settings. Let me introduce to you Mariam Hassan Gambo. She is going to give us the excellent presentation when I finish introducing the panel here. The next person is Magdalene. She is right on my right. Magdalene is an expert in EORE, and victim assistance specialist at UNMAS. Don't bother with me. They call them UNMAS. In Nigeria, we call them UNMAS. So let us know this understanding. Her journey in protection and disarmament span across multiple countries and organizations. Before joining UNMAS, she served as protection technical and coordinator for humanitarian and inclusion in Mali, and worked with UN Regional Center for Peace and Disarmament in Africa. Magdalene also brings experience from protection sector in Egypt, Belgium, and Italy. Her deep technical knowledge, field experience, and commitment to vulnerable population make her a powerful voice in advancing EORE and victim assistance effort. We are proud to work alongside professionals like Magdalene in our collective mission of protecting lives, building resilience for our communities. You're welcome. Next is far left. He's the only gentleman in the panel apart from the chairman. Abubakar Abdullahi Suleiman is a passionate humanitarian with over 9 years of field experience delivering impactful programs across Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe states in the northeast Nigeria. His journey began as a student leader at the University of Maiduguri, during which he picked of the during the peak activities of the Boko Haram crisis, where he championed student community welfare. He holds Bachelor in Library Science and Information and Masters in ICT from Nigerian Open University. Abubakar started a community volunteer and rose to key roles, including state coordinator, program manager at Search for Common Ground under the USAID-funded Nigerian program. Can I say under the then USAID-funded Nigerian program? Lecture program. He is the founder and CEO of SenseCorp, a national NGO driving peace and empowerment across the conflict-affected areas. As a civil society representative in the humanitarian country team and an active member of NEXTOP, he advocates timely, localized, and community-led humanitarian response. He currently serves as the panelist in CPWEI community-led EORE model shaping strategic protection program. Abubakar is committed leader, husband, father, and deeply invested in sustainable peace and community resilience. Let me make some correction. Both the two ladies are also happily married with children. On that note, I will allow Mariam Hassan Gambo to start the presentation. And from here, we can hear from the other panelists before opening the floor for people for contribution. Thank you very much. Mariam, have the floor, please.
Maybe we can present Khalifa as well.
Oh.
Mariam, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I am really happy to be here with you and then present on what we have. We have Khalifa Muhammad Lawan. He's the national coordinator of the Nigerian National Mine Action Center. Khalifa has been in the humanitarian space at the both at the national and global level. He served with Global Giving in the United States for 3 years, then came back to Nigeria as the country director, and then here we are with him in the national, in the Mine Action Center. Thank you very much, Khalifa, for moderating this session for us, and then we will hear from him what he has for us at the national level, how the coordination and then contributions from national and international partners will continue to drive the communities affected by the conflicts into a safer and more resilient community. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Mariam. Thank you for introducing me. As you know, Nigeria recently established National Mine Action Center in just May last year, following a long interaction with the federal government on the establishment of its interministerial committee, which lasted for almost 4 years, trying to make Nigeria understand that there is need to speak the language of the convention, which is by establishing National Mine Action Center. But we succeeded after 4 years. Nigeria's National Mine Action Center was established with headquarters in Maiduguri. The main objective or the main mandate of the center is simply to coordinate the activities of mine action in Nigeria, which means there should be some policies to be deployed. There should be a creation of an enabling environment. There should be an engagement with operational mine action sector organization. There should be involvement and engagement with international partners. This is one of the few mandates of the center. As it is now, the center succeeded in having a successful operational meeting with the stakeholders where we interacted, we know what they are doing, and we have a very important ideas on how to go about it. We have some strategic meeting with United Nations Mine Action Service owners, and the government of Nigeria asked the owners to continue supporting the Mine Action Center in coordinating the activities of the sector, and that's what we are doing in trying to do the quality assurance, the activities around the coordination of organization in the sector. Nigeria is willing also to come up with a policy that will enable the organization in the sector to exhibit and give the best of their experience in terms of EORE, victim support, advocacy, and recently we are pushing to get the approval that will enable us conduct the surveys, technical and non-technical, and also trying to go into the activities of clearance and what have you. On this note, we also have strategic partners in that aspect. We are working with JICA, we are working with other partners that will help us achieve that. But at the same time, coordination and interaction is a very key to the successful sector like mine action. Mine action, to us, is a delicate sector that we need to coordinate, we need to interact, we need to know what people are doing, we need to know what messages is taken to the what community and at what time. We need to have a robust engagement on how we report all these incidences and what have you. On that note, we at the center are willing to partner with as much technical partners, donor organization, and also wants to give the best policy that would enable our national organization do well in conducting their work, in reaching out to the communities, in involving the community in all the approaches. And on that, this is exactly what we are doing. One of the national NGOs has developed a very fantastic way of robust activities around the communities, and we want to share that robust and approach to the teaming population of this MDM for better practice and possible sharing, peer-to-peer sharing of that idea. Thank you very much. Madam, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Child Protection and Women Empowerment Initiative is a grassroots women and youth-led organization established in 2017 with its headquarters in Damaturu, Yobe State, Northeast Nigeria, and then an operational office in Maiduguri, Borno State. We are legally registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission, and then we focus on humanitarian response, development, and peace building across conflict-affected communities in Northeast Nigeria. We have embarked on a mission to empower women, children, and youth, ensuring they survive, thrive, and lead in a dignified and violence-free environment. Our work span through the protection, that is child protection, gender-based violence, mine action, housing, land and property, and then promotion, social cohesion, and countering violence, extremism. We equally support in education, access to quality education in emergencies, vocational training, and then system strengthening. We engage in economic empowerment and restoration programs and the climate smart agriculture and environmental adaptation. We also contribute to healthcare services, child nutrition, and then support access to clean and sustainable water. Our impact span across more than 3.4 million individuals reach directly and indirectly with protection services. We've reached more than 65,000 beneficiaries through education initiatives, and then more than 27 reach through health and nutrition directly and indirectly, and then we've supported individuals with water, sanitation, and hygiene programs. CPWEI is promoting the culture of safety through implementation of innovative and community-driven approaches that yielded an enhanced and effective and sustainable explosive ordnance risk education. This approach includes the empowerment and strengthening of women-led and youth organizations, associations at the grassroots level. We also encourage and then engage the several community-based networks being established by other organizations at the community level, the protection committees, the community-based child protection committees, the women-led networks, and local advocacy groups. We also support the school-based management committees, the youth ambassadors, and peer educators to strengthen their capacity and then engage them meaningfully in the mine action activities, specifically the explosive ordnance risk education. We also established a community mine action committees, CMACs, which include the civilian joint task force and then scrap metal collectors at the grassroots level, and they remain engaged since their establishment in 2023. Even though they are not fully active because of the funding constraints, but they are still engaged in early reporting and then supporting awareness at the community level. And these committees include the community and religious leaders at the grassroots level. It includes women and youth leaders. It includes the traders, the vendors associations, and then the hunters group. We sustain this impact and then the community resilience through maintaining the discussions within their networks, because they are at the grassroots, they are with the people, so they discuss the engagement in the discussion of the risk education, the safe messaging is deeply rooted within them because of the participatory context adapted and model, and it serves, and this serves as the first responders. Generational knowledge transfer. We engage these women and youth as youth ambassadors, EORE ambassadors, and then we have this knowledge transfer from mother to child, then peer-to-peer in schools. We increase women's and youth leadership in safety and advocacy, amplifying the voices of the usually marginalized groups. The community-led driven approach led to resilience and sustainability through local ownership. And then we see the example of the CMACs, that is the Community Mine Action Committees, in a deep-rooted community in Yobe, Gujiba LGA, named Bonigari, Wagir, and then Motai. These are remote areas where humanitarian activities do not often even reach their doorsteps. But we try to reach them through this community-driven approach through their community leaders, the youth groups, and then the women associations. We fill the gaps in hard-to-reach areas through this participatory approach, because where we do not go as humanitarian actors, these people go, because they are their families, that is their community, they know how to navigate even amidst active conflict. We strengthen the social capital and then build trust. We do not engage only the community leaders at the usual case, but we go down to the community, engaging with the women at the community level. Because there is a peculiar setting in Northeast Nigeria where when you discuss with the community leaders alone, you didn't hear the voices of the women at the grassroots, because there is this barrier between the common people at the grassroots level with these community leaders. There is this cultural barrier that you as a woman, you cannot just go directly to this community leader and then start discussing your concerns. It has to go through some channels, and it ends up cutting along the way, not reaching to the community leader. So we try as much as possible to see that we discuss this through focus group discussion, through the tripartite approach, discussing with the community leaders, yes, of course, but then discussing with the women at the marketplace, at the area of their businesses. Then we discuss with the youth also, because we have this setting that when the leaders are sitting, then the youth and women are not part of that particular gathering. So they have their own level of gathering. We have where the youngsters gather and discuss their own issues, where the women discuss their own issues, and then where these community leaders also discuss. So we try as much as possible to give the listening ears to all these groups, then take back their concerns, do the required analysis, and then contextualize our messaging to suit those particular needs. Then cost effectiveness and value for money, because yes, we do not, when we have the full participation and engagement of the youth and women in the grassroots level, so we do not need to pay extra a focal person, extra specialist to reach out to those communities and then deliver this message. One, we have the easy acceptability and adaptability because it's coming from them. When we train their youth, we train their women, then they tend to send out this message in their social gatherings, in the religious gatherings, in their football pitches, in their market centers. Talking about acceptance, okay, we've analyzed from our engagement in Mind Action since 2022 with these communities. And here you will see the numbers speaks to what I'm actually saying now. We had a very low reach when we first started, because we started with the trained personnel that are not really from those communities we are reaching out to. But as we engage with these communities, we understand their perspective, we understand how they do their things, and then the following year, we have a massive increase in our reach because we engage the youth and women within that community. So they easily mobilize beneficiaries to listen to this messages. They easily accept because they do not see it as a foreign thing. And we include the survivors in the messaging. We include people with disability in the messaging. So they hear it firsthand from those directly affected, and then they tend to take precautions from what they've seen happen to their own fellow community brother or sister. Then we have this high community participation because we usually have beneficiaries wait for EORE session. not you scouting, calling this one and this one pulling out from the other angle, but we have beneficiaries lined up, ready to listen to what we have to tell them. It travels, it's upgraded, it's graduated from what do you have for us? Because initially we have this resistance of, when you come in, definitely you are coming with certain interventions, be it food or non-food items. But here we are all with a message. So people will be like, you don't have any food for us, we are hungry, you don't have any shelter for us, we are outside, so we do not want your message. We know bullets, bombs more than you. So we have this acceptance from the community. So we have proven increase in early reporting and incidents of suspected hazardous areas, more timely and accurate reporting of suspected hazards and incidents and victims, up to 38% increase in Yobe State, and enhance early warning systems, because we tend to get these reports, and there are incidences where even if it has happened, we have a minor injury, because definitely most of the time from the reports, there is someone beside that tried to stop that particular person from breaking whatever he has, but he refuses, thinking that he is doing the right thing. And because of that, it explodes, and then we have injuries. But relatively, had it been they all supported that particular activity, the fatality might have been more catastrophic. So we have community linkages with humanitarian response actors, we have reduction in EORE-related incidents, and then faster responses. Then we empower the communities through multiple channels. The community EORE leaders featured in radio broadcasts, real voices, real stories from trusted locals, wide reach and cultural responses. Then the media amplifies life-saving messages and local leadership, because we invite first primary source victims, direct victims, beneficiaries telling their stories through the media channel. It gives more acceptance to the community to feel like, okay, this is really for us, because we have someone that has experienced this firsthand and he's sharing his own messages. Then group ground-up creativity and innovations. We have dramatizations, playing radio jingles, engaging formats that enhance message retention, especially impactful for youth and children. We show ownership and adaptability for EORE efforts at the community level. Amidst hope and crisis, there is this local water vendor that, after attending the EORE session, took upon himself to reach out to his locals. He's an indigent of Goza local government in Borno State, Northeast Nigeria, where he was moved by the EORE session he attended. And then he became a champion of EORE messaging in his own community, through the bushes when he go for his firewood, through the water centers where he sells his water, and then daily interactions within and outside the center of community. He became an inspiration to other community members to do more in amplifying these safety messages across the communities he lives. And then we have this boy. He's a 5-year-old boy. In his way to school, he sighted this EU, and he rushed back to report to his mother, who happens to be an EORE ambassador. This is where we said the intergenerational knowledge transfer. He got this message from his mother, and he quickly remembered what she said about sighting an unknown item. He reported to her, where she reports to the community leaders, and then authorities rendered that particular area safe for them to continue their day-to-day activities. One child's memory leads to the one mother's voice, and then we have one life-saving chain in action. Then we have the peer educators in school in Gujba, where CPWEI train the schools as EORE, school children as EORE ambassador. We embedded EORE in their school life during assemblies. They have group discussions. They show these leaflets to their own peer, and then no incident had ever reported by student in this school. Clear shift from passive awareness to proactive protection. Ambassadors like the water vendor are selected based on their daily mobility, trust, and access to the most at-risk groups. All messaging were tracked, validated, and regularly supervised through CPWEI's quality assurance system. We embedded, through the embedded EORE instructors, the quality assurance, field monitoring, and post-session feedback collection. Feedback loops with community leaders, the community mine action committees, to help verify the consistency and relevance of this messaging. At-risk groups no longer just are at risk, but they are actively reducing risks for others. Thank you for listening.
Well, thank you very much, Mariam, even though you have exceeded the allocated time, but I have to allow you to finish so that people will get the right message that we are trying to put across. Please, we have to introduce one of our colleagues in Nigeria. His name is Akila Bulus. He is a weapon contamination expert working with ICRC in Nigeria. He is going to have a very brief presentation before we proceed. Akila, are you online? Are you there, Akila?
Yes, I am. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you loud and clear. Please, you have the floor. I want you to be mindful of the time because we don't have much time.
Yes, and I'll also forgive you for not introducing me as one of the panelists because that is a big omission from your side.
Thank you very much for correction. I will take it further. Thank you. Please go ahead. You have the floor.
Yes, so I think basically I'm supposed to speak about best practices and challenges in implementing risk education or explosive ordnance risk education in Nigeria. So, well, I'll be speaking generally because speaking from both sides, having been in mine action for 8 years in Nigeria. So, and of course, I've worked with international organization and then now ICRC. I understand both sides of the operation. So one is, I think one of the best practices that is key to implementing risk education in Nigeria is community involvement, okay? Because community involvement simplifies mobilization. So quickly, that is just one. And then importantly is involvement of explosive ordnance survivors, which enhances credibility. So one of the things we do in ICRC is to see that we involve survivors of explosive ordnance accidents. And in that case, people hear from people who have had experience. Now, one of the things I always tell communities is by the time I come to you and I'm talking about risk education or risk awareness, I've not experienced it, and honestly, I don't wish to experience it. However, for someone who has passed through an accident and survived it, losing a limb, losing his hand, someone losing a loved one there, now I'm coming to speak about the risk associated with explosive ordnance. It gives credibility. It gives credibility to the messaging. And then another important best practice is leveraging on existing structures. So one of the things we have done, even in the past, within ICRC and outside ICRC, is to work with structures that are existing. Specifically for ICRC, I'll speak now, we have the Nigerian Red Cross. These are based in the communities. Now, the Nigerian Red Cross has a structure, and this structure ensures that the people that the people we work with in the Nigerian Red Cross, they are based in the communities. Now, working with the Nigerian Red Cross makes it easy, access to information, access to the people. It builds trust, builds acceptance. And then importantly, another aspect of best practice is multidisciplinarity. So when you're multidisciplinary in your response, I think I will also commend CPWEI in this regard, because having multiple interventions helps to reduce, to build trust and acceptance. So CPWEI is multidisciplinary, and in this regard, I also speak about ICRC. Importantly, because we are multidisciplinary, we do a lot of things. Now, it makes it easy, because one of the challenges you find is people refusing to accept people coming to talk about explosive. Of course, Nigeria has high rate of poverty. So by the time you go to speak to communities, they tell you we're hungry and you're here talking about explosive devices. So, but then when you have other interventions, you do livelihoods, you do protection, you do water and habitats, okay? All these, you provide shelter, you provide water. Now, this builds acceptance, and it makes it easy for people to accept risk awareness messages. And then, of course, maximizing the media, it makes the message go around fast and easy. So I think another important component I've not spoken about, which is not on this slide, is trust building with communities. Trust building is key, because it just makes communities to accept you, to be able to share information. In the early days when mine action began in Nigeria, around 2016, 2017, people are afraid to talk about explosive devices when they see it. And why? Because by the time they talk about it, you ask them to show you, they are afraid because the government forces will see them as being part of the armed opposition group. So people are afraid. But by the time we were able to build trust with these communities, they understand that we stand in the middle to speak to both sides, talking to the community and then talking to the government forces. Now, this trust building has really made risk awareness easy, and that has built acceptance over time, that now people are not afraid to speak about explosive ordnance. And then, of course, even in those early days, even the government forces were not so clear about these risks that exist in times of conflict, because it's more or less the first experience in Nigeria. That has not been the case after the Biafra War, okay, because then the population of Nigeria was also very small, and then the impact was not as much as what we are experiencing in Northeast Nigeria. So that trust building with government forces and community has really made explosive ordnance risk education to be accepted easily. And then importantly is networking with stakeholders. So networking has really helped implementing EORE very easy. Networking with stakeholders, networking with government forces, and all of that. And of course, so challenges abound in this response, which, so when we talk about technical capacity, like I said, EORE, mine action started in Nigeria around 2016.
Mr. Akila, your time, but can you quickly wrap it up, please?
Yes, I'm wrapping up. So you see, that's why I made one slide, not 20 slides. So technical capacity is lacking, which now it is already improving. Security has been a challenge. Access to location, access to data is one of the challenges of effective implementation of EORE in Nigeria. However, importantly, also, funding gap is also a challenge, especially with the current reality. And I need to mention this because other organizations are shutting down. Okay, some of us are still operating. However, one organization or two or three or four could not bridge the gap that is existing. So it's a call to see that more organizations are also supported to implement EORE in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akila. Thank you for that insight. We really appreciate it. I hope you are going to remain in the corridor so that you hear remaining discussion.
Sure, I'm here.
Okay, thank you very much. May I use this opportunity to also invite one of the panelists, which is Abubakar Suleiman, to give us some experience in the field and also see how we can collaborate or collaborate what has been said from Mariam to Akila for better understanding of field experience in that perspective. Mr. Abubakar Suleiman, you have the floor, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much to the earlier speakers for highlighting some of the successes we achieved in mine action programming, specifically in EORE back in Nigeria. And the essence of this conversation is for us to be able to have a feel of other experiences from other parts of the world. That is why we're showcasing and highlighting the successes we're achieving in our respective interventions in Nigeria. Notwithstanding, I would want to talk about the power and the need for community-based structures in the delivery of EORE in Nigeria. And one of it is we see so much of interaction and collaboration. This collaboration has led us to co-creating programs together where community members participate in program delivery. Not only participation in program delivery, they tell you that we want, if this approach and this methodology could be devised in the delivery of EORE sessions or EORE activities, it would go a long way in impacting in the lives of many. And again, in some instances, community members tell you that there are a certain group that are at risk in certain communities around in the hinterlands. It is important if we could be able to reach them with these safety messages. If you are not in position to reach these communities, as some of them are moving, some of them are herders, some of them are living deep in the hinterland, how could we be able to get these messages to be able to relate to these people? And in some instances, these herders come approach us and ask us that we heard and we are living in the hinterlands, in the extreme bush. How could you be able to transfer these messages to us for us to also transfer these messages to our people down there? Again, buttressing on the youth ambassadors, as earlier highlighted by my colleague, it is important to acknowledge that these youth ambassadors do not only serve as entities for delivering EORE message, but they are important agents for program sustainability. They are embedded in the community. They are part and parcel of the community. Whenever we impact this EORE message into them, they sustain these messages even beyond the lifespans of the project. Some of our programs are time-based. At the end of our interventions, we pull out of these communities or the program ends, but these community-based structures or these community youth ambassadors keep sustaining these EORE messages for the beauty and for the development of their respective communities. Again, working with these structures increases accountability to the affected population because they know, they get involved, they are aware of what we are doing. They're part and parcel of the programming. We co-create together, we get their ideas, and they're involved in planning and implementation of our programs. Again, not only that, working with them also promotes ownership. Ownership in the sense that they take charge of these interventions from the beginning, and they approach you with the sense that we're willing to contribute our quota in the delivery of this program because our communities are relocated. We have a massive number of populations that are being relocated to their ancestral homes in respective locations in the northeastern sub-region. And when you interact with them, they tell you that we want to take these messages to our people for the sake of ownership, and we want to undertake this through outreaches. Government is intending to relocate our people to their ancestral homes, and it is important that in delivering this intervention, we are involved and we are part and parcel of this delivery. Again, working with community structures gives you easy access in hard-to-reach areas. They provide details to you, they provide information to you. Whenever you undertake interventions in certain communities, community members tell you that such areas are risky, we should avoid them, and
yeah, time, please. Can you try to wrap it?
Okay, okay. And then finally, this serves as a platform for sharing information on suspected hazardous areas. Community members tell you that certain locations are risky locations. We should try to avoid them for the benefit of protecting our people. So in a nutshell, I think working with community base structures cannot be overemphasized, and this has been the spirit of one and the strength behind some of our successes in our respective interventions in the Northeast. Thank you so much, Moderator.
Thank you very much, Abubakar. Indeed, working with communities does a lot of wonders in terms of taking the message at the doorstep of each and every family. May I use this opportunity to invite Ms. Magdalene to also
Yes.
make a presentation?
Thank you, Khalifa. So I'm going to be really brief. I don't want to add more. So it's just on the background of this evolving context in northeast Nigeria, but in general in Nigeria, where we have rising casualties. It is the first time since 2018 that we have so many civilian casualties, and also the threat is moving and is reaching areas where it wasn't before. We have the relocation of the population. And you can see, as it happens in many contexts, when you have a rise in ID incidents, then obviously you have also, again, a rise in civilian casualties and a continuous change of the modalities in which you have to have explosive ordnance risk education. So this is a bit the situation where we are, and Nigeria also ranks 6 globally as one of the most affected countries by explosive ordnance. So this is why this kind of intervention, we're working with this fantastic national organization, and in, I just wanted to show you the several pieces that are putting together the Nigerian Mine Action Response. We have the side of this grassroots initiative and community engagement that they have talked about from field experience. And all these organizations, and we have 2 here, but there are a lot of others online. We have a very, very active mine action sector at local level that helps the prioritization. And we have had international organizations that have done for years capacity building, such as MAG and DRC, that nurturing this pool of EORE instructors that are helping on the quality assurance side of things. And then more recently, and also thanks with the creation of the NMAC, we are increasing our coordination with the security and defense forces. And we have NPF and so the police and NSCDC and other agencies, that it's also complementing this EORE outreach in areas where the humanitarians cannot go or they are prevented to go. And last but not least, thanks also to global efforts such as the GICHD recent training on identification and referrals of victims that we are going to pilot, reinforcing this linkage between EORE and victim assistance to have really teams and communities that have these double capacities embedded. Thanks. I think that I will stop here to leave you room to comment, ask questions, or even bring a similar or different experience in other contexts.
Well, thank you very much, Magdalene, for sticking to the time. Thank you once again for giving us the best you can give. And I know the people, the attendees are listening to all what you said. And I will give a floor, I will open the floor for a contribution, observation, and maybe sharing of similar activities somewhere in the world. May I start with the gentleman there, please?
Thank you very much. My name is Lionel Pechra. I work with GICHD. Also had the honor to work in Maiduguri for 2 years, 19 and 20, with UNMAS. Here, I don't have really a question, but I wanted to highlight the progresses. That time, we were thinking and trying to find ways to localize explosive ordnance risk educations. It's here. We were struggling with very practical issues like language. I remember a study from Translators Without Borders highlighting the fact that people don't necessarily speak English, nor Hausa, nor Kanuri. I think you did not mention it in the presentation, but I also believe that as part of the localizations and community-based risk education, the language aspect is very important. Also, I think it's really great that we have a National Mine Action Center. I also think it's really great that it is based in Maiduguri and not in Abuja. I think that the coordination between the federal level and the state level is also super important. At that time was really critical. So I just wanted to make kind of a statement like how pleased I am to see all these great progresses. Thank you very much.
Hi, Dave Willey, the Programme Quality Director from MAG, and I echo everything that Lionel just said. Firstly, I'd really like to congratulate you, Mr. Lawan, and the National Mine Action Centre, because as a newly established Mine Action Centre, you're already playing a really active, visible and pivotal role in this international mine action community, so thank you. And my congratulations also to Mrs. Gamba and Mr. Suleiman for leading two such incredible movements at the local level, and to ICRC and UNMAS for the technical support. I really think this panel is a great example of how strong cooperation across the international, national and local sector can really play a part of innovation in the sector. My actual question comes in two parts, and it's about quality assurance and quality control in these types of highly localized, community-led EORE approaches. What challenges have you both encountered in delivering both internal and external quality assurance and quality control, both from the perspective as the national operators, but also from the perspective of a National Mine Action Centre? And secondly, reflecting on a comment that Valen from GICHD made on the first day, that UNMAS needs to adapt more to the actual situation happening on the ground in conflict-affected communities, how do you think UNMAS might need to evolve better to accommodate and support some of these adaptive, community-driven methodologies? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Any intervention? Okay, please, go ahead.
Thank you all for this very informative discussion. I have two questions, one for Madalena, please, about the reinforcing victim identification and referral training, maybe, or support. Does it link after that the victims with the referral, or only as a process? The second one for Mr. Lawan as well, for the National Center. Does it have a part of victim assistance, or just start with clearance and risk education? Thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe we can take those.
We can do it, okay. Well, for the first question, I think, let me just address it. As you know, Nigeria is multicultural, multilingual society. Based on the 2021 census, we have more than 532 or 33 languages, entirely different languages, living in the same space called Nigeria. You can imagine the language from one language to another, there's going to be a big barrier. Even from Gwoza local government area, we have 772 local government. Gwoza local government is only one of them. In Gwoza local government, we have more than 10 languages. One cannot understand the other one. You can understand why the language without border has to play a very important role. But on that note, we used to have what is called bilingual. Most of us in the northern Nigeria, we can speak Hausa language. No matter what language you have other language that communicate all of you, which is Hausa. And on that note, we try to promote certain approach and certain words for a common understanding all of us. I think I visited to one of the schools in the local areas, and I heard them singing a song about EORE, something. Inkagani wani abu karkataba. So if you see something, don't touch, report to your parent. This is a common song by children in primary school that has stick into their memory. So anything they say, even if it's going to be useful, they will not touch it until they refer it back to their parent, and their parent back to the security, or back to other reporting architecture that we have. So I think this will address some of the barriers of the language that we have. I think I've addressed that very well. The second question is about the quality assurance. I will allow Madam Magdalene to address it, please.
Okay, so thank you for this question. As you can imagine, this is also like one of my major concerns,
Yeah.
and the thing I'm pestering the partners about. It's very difficult to ensure quality assurance when you have, imagine you have only 2 organizations here and you have a lot of others in the field. They are training people at the grassroots level. One thing that, for example, Mariam's organizations did, and that was very effective, they have these EORE instructors that have been trained by international organizations and like such as MAG and DRC, for example, that are embedded in the community. And this made a change in respect of more traditional approaches where you have this quality assurance that is moving around the different sites. And it's effectively very difficult in the end to maintain a good level of quality assurance like this. But when you have it embedded in a community, that is obviously making much more effective, and they are able to get in touch and report back when there is critical non-conformities. Even through the mine action sectors, we have had recently an organization that was put under the spot because the messaging was not right. And also all these committees, to some extent, they are, some of them at least, they are having this role of quality assurance and quality control. It remains a challenge, and is not something that will disappear over time. That is why we need to sustain this capacity of maintaining a certain level of quality and a certain level of training, and where this funding in gap is going to be very critical here. I don't know if you want to add anything on that, but I wanted to also jump in the question that you have on the IMAS, because and it's linking to Hannah's question on the, are you just explaining the process, or they're actually going to refer? We are having this pilot project with the GICHD, and the important thing here in this perspective of the standards is really to build tools on how to operationalize the standards. So in this example of victims identification and referrals, we are having not so much a change in the SOP or the standards that are at national level, but a work on how to operationalize it and make it happen. So moving beyond the standards and having all the organizations that are, no matter what they're doing on mine action, having this embedded in their teams and their capacities. And this is, I think, also something that will be great in terms of operationalize the standards on EORE, on how really this organization can better do community-based approaches. You can write nice things on the standards, it only remains to a certain level, but then how you make it happen, it's what makes the difference. So I'm going to stop here, and maybe there are other comments or questions.
Yeah, I think I have one question that needs to address us. She asked me about the victim support aspect of the National Mine Action Center. Yeah, we are just being established, and we are getting the right people to do the right thing. Already we started collecting some secondment from the other government agencies. As you know, Mine Action Center in Nigeria is interministerial. So some ministries and agencies of government do have a role to play in the center. We are collecting some of our staff from the Humanitarian Ministry, some from Refugee Commission, some from NEMA, and some from police, some from civil defense and what have you. And we are hoping to assume that position as quickly as possible. We are hoping that with the partnership we have with UNMAS, we are going to train the people to take a specific role for a specific period of time to enable us to give us best that we can get from them. Thank you for that. Any additional question, please? I'll come to you.
Good morning. This is Hamid Ibrahimi from EORE program GICHD. I actually had, first of all, thanks a lot for sharing the good experiences from the field, which are very interesting, and I hope those could be replicated to actually have a sustained knowledge within the communities in order to continue doing risk education moving forward beyond an existing capacity within the community, which is really commendable. I actually had 3 questions which are not as complicated, but the first thing is if there are like IEDs issues in Nigeria, which I was reading, how do you deal with delivering IED risk education? Are there any sensitivities around IEDs, and especially speaking from a do no harm perspective and all that? The second is about I think it's very complicated and challenging when you have community-based EORE on reporting beneficiaries. How do you do that? What process and approach do you use to have accurate numbers of beneficiaries? And the third point is around the delivering risk education to IDPs or people on the move. What's the approach? How do you deal with that aspect? Are there any other partners that can help you in the aspects of integration of EORE, like in other contexts and countries? You have UNHCR, IOM, or other big organizations working on the displacement that help. Are there any such approaches in Nigeria? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Eriko Mukai, Senior Advisor of JICA, Japan International Cooperation Agency. Thank you very much for very informative presentations. And I think under this very severe situation that there's a lot of casualties, I think EORE is very important. And then I learned a lot of many good practices and lessons learned from the real experiences on the ground. My question is, having understood the importance of EORE under these circumstances, but at the same time, the emergency response, taking out those IED or explosives when accident happens or when community found, also is very, very much important. It goes, along with EORE and even those response activities. So I would like to know how much the capacity is now developed to respond to taking away those IED and explosives, and then for international NGO, local NGOs, and then even national operators. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we can, let's address these questions first. Mariam, please, can you go ahead?
Yeah, thank you very much, Hamid. The IED messaging. Yes, this is one of the major areas that we are having casualties now, because there's this systematic change of attacks, and then they are more of now using IEDs rather than direct attack. So, and most of the casualties are from IEDs. The messaging is we are contextualizing it to the change in the systematic change in the system in the attack. And then we have, through the sector, we have the engagement of the military personnel, the police EOD, and then we get the knowledge of trying to avert this kind of explosive. And in the training that we have for EORE facilitators, EORE instructors, there is this portion of the IEDs through the messagings, through pictures, the tactics, the tactics that is evolving. So we are incorporating that, And also, I think there is this discussion about how to contextualize even the messaging to be more of the IEDs rather than the ERWs. Because the ERWs has been there, and then people are more aware of the ERWs than the IEDs. Because we get these testimonies from military personnel, the police, that even them, they themselves are trying so hard, very difficult for them to even identify the type of IEDs that are being used, so they are always exploring thus. So these are the areas that we really need additional capacity to engage more in training, and then training the locals to understand the tactics that is being used by the insurgent. And then talking about EORE integration, yes, that's why in my presentation and also in Akila's presentation, we are a kind of multifaceted organization that we do not only do mine action, but we do mine action, we do education, we do nutrition, we do WASH. So, and other members of the mine action sectors, they are not directly doing mine action alone, but they are integrating, mainstreaming EORE in other activities at the field level. Is it at the center where women go to get nutritional support with their children, then at the queue, trying to access those services, then they are being sensitized on EORE. Applied to WASH, it applies to education. The process of the other example, the other story is EORE in school. Then definitely we have organizations that they are doing more of school education in emergency activities, then they mainstream EORE into that. So we integrate as much as possible, and this is where we are even discussing with the coordination body to understand how we could get more organizations from other sectors. It is not all about, mine action is everyone's business. It shouldn't be, you're not in the mine action sector, you're not doing mine action VA, you're not doing clearance, you're not doing EORE, so you don't have anything to do with mine action. We are out there sensitizing. We use the EMAD, International Mine Awareness Day, to get as much organization during the sector coordination meetings, other sector coordination meeting, be it health, be it nutrition, to discuss about mine action, to let other organizations understand that it's everyone's business, because the safety of their own staff and the safety of their beneficiaries lies in the knowledge, how informed they are about the hazardous items. So I think I have answered. Thank you.
Okay, Suleiman, you want to add something?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for the question. Just to buttress on Mariam's point, reporting IED incidences or suspected areas where there are IEDs, there is a format where community members and security forces relate and interact. So the channel of communication is between, or it's in the form of community members to community leaders to the securities. So when there's a common slogan in Nigeria, if you see something, say something. So if they suspect an IED in a certain location, they report to the community members, either the religious or community traditional leader, and they report to the security. So it is the responsibility of the security to come and address the issue. So there's a department under the police which is known as the EOD. It is their responsibility to clear when there is a suspected incidence of an IED, either exploded or unexploded. Again, on reporting of beneficiaries, we use the online tools in most occasions where project staff or volunteers or ambassadors have the basic skills of using smartphones. So they report the number of beneficiaries reached using the smartphone and using Kobo Collect as a tool that is usually used. Again, we devise the methodology where in instances where there are no mobile networks, we use manual attendance to take the number of beneficiaries reached per session, and by that, we get the accurate number of beneficiaries reached in all sessions we deliver. And again, risk education to moving refugees or IDPs that are being relocated to their ancestral homes. So we belong to various clusters and units where we get this information adequately, and in such conversations, when there is need to return IDPs to their ancestral home or repatriate IDPs in neighboring countries. We get the information, and government mobilizes through the coordination unit on the need to mobilize organizations that deliver certain thematic areas of interest, which includes mine action. In that regard, mine action programming or mine action organizations are also deployed to be able to deliver this messaging. To conclude on the senior advisor from JICA taking out IEDs or ERWs, suspected ERWs, it is the responsibility of government forces, which are under the EOD of the Department of the Police. So I think just to highlight this and make it more clearer. Thank you, and over.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I thank you very much for that. I hope we have interacted well and we learned much. But on the government side, I think we started working with the Ministry of Education, Nigerian University Commission, Primary Education Board to make sure that risk education feature into the curriculum of the schools, because we discovered that this aspect of dangers of the IEDs is everybody's business. And you can see from the practice, even the non-state actors started using other methodologies, because the usual methodologies, we already sensitize people on them. So they keep providing new areas, new method, new approach, and we keep also sensitizing people on what we have discovered. But if we make sure that it is in the curriculum of our schools, primary, secondary, and the university, I think that will go a long way in giving a constructive sensitization on the dangers of this device, and we hope to achieve that as much as possible. I know that there are people online, and we don't have much to give them for any comment. And time is just calling on us to conclude this meeting. And thank you very much. I will use this opportunity to close this meeting so that we can go on and face other things. Thank you very much for attendance, and we look forward to meet you once again in additional effective approach to EORE. By going back, we're going to devise additional means, additional approach, additional methodology for better understanding and better awareness. Thank you once again.